And I think what this speaks to, this Megyn Kelly thing and a couple other things, it speaks to the buy-in of influence and how destructive it is and how influence has been really disseminated across our culture, which is very good in terms of things like, the independent media space, for example. Independent media is the best media and the only media that matters in our country right now, which is a good thing. So, but what I believe, and I did not agree with Douglas Murray on Dave Smith, or Dave Smith on Joe Rogan. I much prefer Dave Smith's point of view. But what Douglas Murray did have a point on, to give Douglas Murray some credit, he's gotten shredded for that interview over and over again. I think he deserves some of it, and I'm a fan of Douglas and I'm a fan of Dave Smith, even though I differ from Douglas on the opinion that he was talking to Dave Smith about mostly. And there's so much I have to learn, so I'm humble about that. But what Douglas Murray had a point on is that we need to be very careful of how decentralized this has become, of who we take advice from. And this is not saying that anyone, including myself, including anyone watching this who wants to do it, can step up and say, I want to start a show, I want to do this, whatever. But the way that we grant influence to people matters, and the way that we elevate people matters. And so where I want to go for more of a funny opinion on this right now is the rise of the Hawk Tuah girl and her influence. So for those who do not know all of this, and again, I try not to pay attention to this stuff, but this was just, it was just so funny, and I don't want to minimize this at all because it's that hilarious. It truly is that hilarious. So Haley Welch, who is also known as the Hawk Tuah girl, for those who don't know, so she had obviously the viral moment, I believe, in Nashville, where she was getting a man on the street interview by Vox, I think, and she, the guy was like, I think he asked her like a sex question or something like that, and she said, spit on that thing, gotta give him that Hawk Tuah, all that sort of stuff, whatever. And what goes viral, she went on stage with fucking like Zach Bryan and Shaq and Whitney Cummings, and Joe Rogan talked about it on Fight Companion with Dean Thomas, who I love, and all those other people. And what I found out, this week when I was doing research for the show, is that 75,000 votes for her were cast in the presidential election via write-in last year for Haley Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, or some variation. They believe they tabulated 75,000 votes were cast for the Hawk Tuah girl. So she is relevant, man. Like, she is relevant in our culture. And she probably has the most viral meme of, the last year probably. And so, you always want, and it was funny. And did it say, a lot of things? We'll talk about that in a second. But was it funny? Yes. Did it go viral? Yes. But, I was wondering, like, this is going to get way stretched out. This is going to go way too far. And we're going to be having people, saying that she's like an important figure or a modern day philosopher or something like that or whatever. And it hilariously has done exactly what I thought it did. And it has gone way too far. It has gone very, very far, actually. She launched a podcast called Talk Tuah, which is absurd. It's actually funny when you hear it for the first time. But the fact of her having a podcast at all is absurd, because what value does this woman have to say about anything? She's a 21-year-old college student who got famous on a Vox interview for talking about blowjobs. Let's just be honest about that, what that was. And now she is like looked at as like a positive icon of this next generation that's coming up. And she's only a couple years younger than I am. I'm 27. She's 21 or 22, whatever she is. She's like 5 years younger than I am. But it's like she is now a more influential voice than a lot of people I think should be. And so she is now viewed as the person that is going to help guide this next generation to like greater clairvoyance of the meaning of life or something, or whatever the hell she's being viewed as now. And then after that, she did not stop there, by the way. Most people stop there. But then she launched a cryptocurrency. She launched a meme coin called Hawk Tuah meme coin. The Hawk meme coin, $Hawk. I'm not a crypto guy. My friend Dakota Williams is a big fan of crypto. I'll have to ask him about this after I get off of this. And he's also got a great YouTube channel, so subscribe to him, please, and on Rumble as well. But so she launches, the Hawk Tuah girl, Haley Welch, she launches this meme coin called Hawk on, I believe, on the Solana blockchain, which my dad is also a big crypto person. And he basically said that, so he said that, Solana is, he's a fan of it. And so she launches this coin on the Solana blockchain, and it reaches a market cap of $500 million. $500 million. So the Hawk Tuah girl, the girl who got famous in a 20-second clip talking about how she likes to give guys head, is now having a meme coin worth $500 million. Her net worth, and I'm sure the company that was part, I think it might have been, I think Jake Paul, I think was partnered with her on this and helped launching this or whatever. But, again, like essentially like a net worth that has gotten from $0 to $500 million in assets because of a 20-second video clip and a soundbite. Like ridiculous, only can happen in America. It would be hilarious if it wasn't so troubling, all these sort of things. But then, so people bought into Hawk Tuah. It was the most viral meme. She exploded in relevancy. She TikTok star, Instagram famous, podcast, getting mentioned on the biggest other things, meme coin, etc. But then it all came down. It's all coming down. And she has plummeted down to $25 million. So I'm doing the math in my head. That is, I think, a 40x decrease in market value and market decline. Because, no, it would be a 60x decrease in market cap. And so, boom, just all went down. 500 million on that meme coin to 25 million. And so CoffeeZilla, who is awesome. So CoffeeZilla, for those who don't know him, is a journalist who kind of talks about these sorts of schemes and calling out these people and things like that. And so CoffeeZilla did a great breakdown on this. He just went in on Haley Welch, accused her of an exit scheme, insider trading, pump and dump, all these things. I believe Jordan Belfort might have weighed on this too and kind of said kind of reminds me of what I was doing at Stratton Oakmont, all those things. And people, when this dropped, were like, oh my God, how could this happen? How could the Hawk Tuah girl have, possibly, let out of some, thing with this or whatever? How could she have possibly done this? But this is, again, people are acting surprised that this has happened, but this is exactly what happens when you promote this level of degeneracy, this level of elite attitude sort of thing. When you confer status onto people like Haley Welch, if you elevate people like Haley Welch, who have no reason to be elevated, none at all. They are implanted, they are installed by someone who wants to launch a pump and dump cryptocurrency scheme or pollute a narrative of sexual perversion or a lot of other things. It hurts people. Clearly, monetarily, it hurts people. I was investing in a $500 million net worth asset, boom, down to $25 million. It hurts people. It hurts people when they do this. And this is not, again, I am trying not to make this so much about Haley Welch, but I am making this about the established narratives inside of our culture that are parroted by these people, by these plants. She is a plant. Haley Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, is a plant like so many others, which basically all of this really, put a bow on it. We need honest people to say, this person's ridiculous. They are, they're not telling the truth. They're bad people. They're bad people, or they're not bad people, but just don't listen to them. They're ridiculous. They're stupid. They have no idea what they're talking about. Haley Welch is one of those people. You have to have honest brokers tell the truth. And without honest brokers to tell the truth about the plants inside of America, you're not going to have a lot of truth inside of America, which is why our culture is so polluted.